But the one thing that you've heard over and over again is that we're excited about this business for a reason, because there's a good return on investment, because we get to be difference makers, because we get to be people who impact other people's lives. And if my voice keeps going any higher, you're going to realize that I'm very passionate about this.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. I'm your host, Austin Lopes-Severo, and I'm here with Chris Ball, Zach McElwain, and Roger Short. The LIA podcast takes you into the conversations of top producing life insurance agents so that you can level up your business. For episode notes and resources, visit liapodcast.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insurer Acad. Also, make sure you subscribe to our text notifications for episode releases and agent resources. All you have to do is send the letters LIA to the number 82149. That's 82149 and the letters LIA. All right, well, let's jump into today's episode. Guys, when I saw today's topic, I was a little surprised. We're right in the middle of a global pandemic, lest we not forget. And, many agents are either just getting back into the field if they were door knocking, or they're, they found themselves without a job and they're getting into the industry, and funds might be short for some agents. So why are we talking about investing in your business?
Also, I feel like it is an interesting time. There are all sorts of businesses that are closing. We're not closing. I guess they're on pause. I guess that's the best way to say it. Shuttered?
Shuttered.
Yeah. So there are folks who are entering this industry because of they are kind of forced into a position to look into an entrepreneurial position. But along with that, this seems like the best time in the history of the world to be an entrepreneur. There's so many resources available. And if you're going to do it and you're looking for some type of freedom outside of a job, then I don't think there's another way to do this other than to invest in yourself.
Well, they always say buy low and sell high, right? You want to get in with the least amount of barriers, and then build it up and then sell out of it. And so when you think about the stock market, a pandemic, or anything that's going on, I've bought more shares than I've ever have in my life. By the way, I barely have any. But, I started getting into this. He has 3 now.
He did buy 15,000 shares of Facebook yesterday.
Right. Jeez. Okay.
Good job, buddy.
Thanks for that loan. So, going into that, these are great opportunities, for one, to invest in the market, for one, to invest in your career, because a lot of people now, and we've talked about on previous episodes, are looking at barriers of entry everywhere you go are now lowered. They're looking for opportunities for higher gain. They're looking for opportunities to invest in themselves, invest in other things, to grow. And so I think this is absolutely a perfect topic for this.
Yeah. So there's always this juxtaposition of time, money, time. Mm-hmm. Which one do you have the most of? Which one can you invest in? I would say starting out, for most people, it's their time that they have, especially if they don't have any resources to invest. And so that's the hustle and grind. That's the Saturday day. That's the Saturday garage sales. Gary V's running around doing, buying stuffed bears and baseball cards and flipping them to make money for the next thing. And, he doesn't need to do it, but he does it to show how it can be done, because he's just grinding. So he's got time. And so that's a way that you can use your time. When you get started in this business, you have family, you have friends. You take advantage of the full week. I think one of the problems that we see in our space of life insurance sales is this idea of a 3-day work week to create financial freedom. And I think that's a misnomer. It's not going to create financial freedom. It may make you some good money, but you got to get up and do it again next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. So how do you do both?
And those 3 days better be...
Yeah, they better be good. And, if you have any glitches whatsoever, now you've preconditioned yourself or programmed yourself that you have a 3-day work week, and, you're boasting about this, and then the first hiccup you have or the first chargeback you get, or, anything could go wrong. A pandemic, for instance, could happen in the world. Like these things all interrupt that, and then everything changes.
It's not that it can't be done. But they're when you get to that point where you are doing it, it's because you've made the investments.
Yeah.
Right. That you're putting in the hard work. You're putting in the time to get there. When you start out, if you work 3 days and you don't get many apps versus way down the road, you've been doing this for a while and you know how to, actually do the sale and get as many apps as you can in those 3 days and help all those families. Like it's realistic investment that you see the benefit over time.
Yeah, I would say for new people getting started, you found our podcast, you're listening, you're not in the business yet, or you're just getting in, you've got a few contracts, you realize maybe I'm not in the right place, I don't know about leads yet, I'm still trying to get all this figured out. Yeah. Or I've been in the business for a while and I'm not really making any money. My suggestion would be to overinvest on your time. Like 2 years, gas down, pedal to the metal. You've heard Zach say it. He was putting his head down for a full year and not even thinking about, deviating from the plan and looking up after a year and then looking back to see what was created. Look back at the wake. What have I done? What's possible now? Okay, now recalibrate and go forward for year 2. If you overinvest on your time up front, you've given yourself margin. You've purchased margin that may not be there. You might have been brought into the business on a 3-day work week idea. And while it's a great idea and some perform excellently at it and some do exceptionally well financially at it, for someone coming in new, that may be the absolute worst advice ever that they could hear, that this is a 3-day work week, because they are not giving themselves the margin of error that they need for those misses, for the lack of experience, for the lack of understanding how to get a product underwritten, for the nuances that are going to take place, the market interruptions, the market disruptions, family issues, car issues, life stuff, like all the other things that can happen. So if you can overinvest on the time up front, that investment will pay big dividends coming back, because you'll learn a lot. You'll make a lot of mistakes, but because you've given yourself more margin on time, you make up for the mistakes with your time. So you can still perform and have a decent week. I would put up hard work and hard work and just ingenuity, just getting out there, just doing everything you can to kick it up against someone who's just talented. The hard work can learn the talent. Sometimes the talent can't learn the hard work. Mm-hmm. And the hard work eventually will outperform the talent, because talent can be gained and learned. Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to understand that there's a difference between time versus money and then time and money, because it's the single thing that attracts people to this business, but they don't have the right expectations.
When you say that, what do you mean by it's the thing? What is it that they're attracted to?
Well, they may be coming from another career where they're working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 30 hours a week, whatever, but they knew exactly how much they were making or would make over the next pay period or 2 or 3 pay periods. So it was very predictable. And then you look at this opportunity that doesn't have a ceiling, and in a lot of cases doesn't have a floor, or a limited floor. So they come into this opportunity thinking, I can make, this astronomical amount of money, which is true, but I can also only work 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 1 day a week as well. So they look at the maximum amount of time they can have with their family if they go one way on the scale, and then they also look at the maximum amount of money they can make on the other side of the scale. But what they don't realize is they're not wanting time versus money. They're wanting time and money. But looking at that opportunity coming in, they're going, okay, well, I thought I could make 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, on my own pen, or before I start developing or building a team to go beyond that or start my own agency. Which they can. But they're also saying, but I also want to go to every single T-ball game, every single soccer game. I want to do this. I want to go to dinner every night, and
I want to play in men's league.
I mean,
golf on Fridays.
So they're really looking at 15 to 20 hours a week, and then they go, oh well, this opportunity wasn't what you told me it was. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. And they try to put blame on the system, on programs, on groups, on anything but their expectations. And what everybody truly wants when they come into this, and this is where the distinction is they want that time and that money. But you can't get that walking into the business. You can't. You don't come in and say, okay, Chris, sign me up for the time and money
program. Yeah,
right.
Sign me up for that one.
Yeah, I want that one. I want that one. Put me on that plan.
We can put you on a track to get it.
Right. But the thing is, it takes time and effort and investment into every aspect of your business and your life and sacrifice in order to then achieve. Time and money is a result. Okay, coming in, it's time versus money. You decide how much time you're going to put in, how much you're going to invest, and it's going to result the money immediately. If you work 5 days, just starting into this business, you're going to have a lot more money than you will somebody coming in this business part-time or only working 2 days a week. So everybody's ratio is different, and it's all great because it's what they need, it's what they're looking for, and that's what's amazing about this opportunity is it doesn't have to be the same for everybody. It is a sliding scale, one way or another, but it's a ratio. So the more time, the more money. The less time, the less money, right?
It makes sense.
It kind of works that way until you get the time and money, and we can talk about what it takes to get there.
So the next thing is, we've talked about this time versus money, time and money. And while agents are in this kind of time versus money period that Zach mentioned, what are some of the things that they can invest in to get them to that time and monies?
The very first thing, the practical thing is leads because of our niche business.
Yeah,
it gives us an opportunity to get
that comes to everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Well, it's the one thing that you can sit or get in front of the most people in the least amount of time. Yeah, you can generate your own leads
at a relatively low investment. Also, compared to the return that's available.
You can get referrals. You can work warm market. You can do videos. You can do anything you can. But when you think about it, why do you want to spend all that time 2 weeks to sit with 4 or 5 people, or I don't know, and eventually it's going to start running out and become more difficult when you can, spend $500, $600, $700, $800 on a full batch of leads, and all of a sudden you have 20, 30 different families to go sit with this week. So yes, you spend a little bit of money on leads, but it is an investment in time because you value your time at a point. You want to make a certain amount of profit to pay your bills, to invest money in the stock market, to save money, to reinvest in your own business. But at the same time, now you have half the week to spend with your family or full weekends, and you have people. Again, you're not having to generate more marketing, more referrals, and more effort.
You invest in leads, and it can have a 500-600% return, on those leads. You drop, let's say it's $500, right? I'll just use that as a number, or $600, and you go out and have a $6,000 week after you deduct your lead costs and it's an astronomical return on investment. However, you bring someone new into the business. You say, hey, listen, I want you to invest $30,000 into your business before you make any this year.
And there are opportunities like that.
$30,000. You want to invest $30,000 in your business before you make any money this year. So when you sign up with us, first of all, I need your credit card because I'm going to start charging you $600 a week. Hi. Yeah. You see these people running for the hills because they see it as spending, not investment. They can't correlate it because no one's ever shown them the flyer with the lawns that are available, and they can only see it in terms of money going out, and they're not sure of the return. But man, you put a good batch of leads in front of anybody. There's laydowns in there. There's 1s, 2s, and 3s in all those leads. There are the people who are going to buy no matter who shows up to sell it. There's going to be a bunch of people kind of in the middle, or a bunch of people on the other end, the 3s that are never going to buy no matter who shows up. And then there's some 2s that are in the middle that a good agent, a good advisor who's listened to any of our previous podcasts and taken all the training available on Life Insurance Academy will be able to turn those from 3s to 2s and move them into the category of a client. And boy, the return on that investment is just huge. So please do not be afraid of investing in leads, in your business.
Here's the other thing, though. it only takes one application, dedicating one application to cover all your lead cost. One.
Yeah.
So one commission from oneself, from one family out of those 20 or 30 families that you see that week, just one pays for all the rest of them. And still, even if you are, well, I do like referrals. Well, look how many referral opportunities you have when you buy a batch of leads. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. And you can cover all your costs with just one lead. Just costs you one lead.
The reason this works, again, is the time versus money conversation. As far as leads, we know based on statistics that people buy life insurance on average about 7 times in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. And if that's true, there are entry points typically on when they have these conversations. And what we know as an organization, some of the 2 most common conversations are when they purchase a house. It's the biggest expenditure of their lives, or they begin looking at final expenses. So those are entry points of why we market to those people. And when they send in a lead, it is a request for information. Mm-hmm. And they're asking for a purpose behind that request. So we're getting more time. Otherwise, I'm going to my friends and neighbors, and all sorts of ways to do that. You can do that through Instagram. You can do that through Facebook. You can do that through all sorts of options. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping to catch, whether they have it or not, an opportunity of having a life insurance conversation, whether they're in one of those 7 points in their life or not. And now I'm using up my time to generate income.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another important thing about leads is you have to have a right amount of opportunities. So when you say, "Oh, I'm investing," but you're investing scared, right? Or you're getting, "Oh, just give me 8 leads this week, or just 10. I've
got enough 10, to invest for
right?
2 weeks."
Exactly. Like when you're going through that, you don't know which one of those leads. I always tell everybody, I'm only going to get 10. Okay, which one of those are going to be applications? Look at those names and tell me which ones it's going to be. And you don't know that because they're just opportunities to have a conversation with somebody. Now, if you know every single lead that you buy, your batch of leads for that week, your investment in your business that week can all be paid for with one application, no matter if you get 10 leads or you get 25 or 30 leads. It may take 2 small apps or 1 larger app, but it can still be covered all with one application dedicating to your leads. Now, every other app is profit. Why would you want 10 leads when you can get 20 or 25 or 30? Because it's just all opportunities. Mm-hmm. If you get 20, those first 15 may be all garbage. You may not get any of them, but you may sell every single one of those last 5. But if you bought 15 or 10, you may have had nothing that week. Mm-hmm. So it just gives you more chances. There's nobody I know in this business that week in and week out, they buy 20 leads and they sell 20 applications. Every single lead they get is an app. It doesn't happen. If you are, I would love to shake your hands.
We'll have you on as a guest.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But realistically, that's not going to happen. So when you're looking at that, it might be half or less than half of those leads that you actually are able to get an application or an opportunity out of. So the more opportunities, the more chances for profit. The easier it is to profit, the better return on your investment. So it kills me when some agents, I'm just taking 12 leads a week. You're making it so difficult for you to either make your money back and also turn a profit. Just get more. If you don't get to them, that's great. You have extra in case of a sick week or you miss something. You can go back and work them or add an extra Saturday a month to just do a cleanup. And all it equals is more money, more renewals. You get your time and money.
When you're doing that 12 leads a week, if we're honest here, that really is a part-time opportunity. You are spending both time and money. It's costing you both because now you've increased your driving radius. You're trying to catch people that you've recycled through on multiple times, and you just aren't giving. That's your time cost, and then on the money cost, you aren't catching a return of your investment.
I think it's a direct result of an agent not having a clear path of where they want to go. Because half the weeks they want time, the other half they want money, and they can't figure it out, and they're
it's
burning
that person.
both
It's that person trying to get in the water, and they keep just putting their toe in. It's just really cold, and it's uncomfortable, and they can never get in. Other people are jumping in, they're having fun, and then the lifeguard blows the whistle and says it's break, and the person who's trying to get their toes in never do get in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really where it is.
I can relate to this. I mean, you and I had these conversations of me getting started now 15 leads. That's what I was doing. But that was a hard line. It was a hard line. Even when I was making money, not realizing I was limiting my own opportunity. And I was approaching it like an employee. That's what my mindset was. I was approaching it like an employee.
Were you part-time at that time?
Yeah, I was part-time.
So even with that, there's full-time agents that take that or less every week.
Yeah, I know.
And I remember this as about when me and you went to do a road warrior together in South Carolina. And you said, I don't want no 15 leads. Give me like 30. Give me 30, 35.
Yeah, I remember
give
when
me
Chris
more.
crossed that threshold, give me all the leads.
Just give them to me.
Just all of them.
I just want to max it out.
Yeah, you come a long way. I mean,
Well, thank
some
you.
of,
You're
some
like
of your
8 or
tactics that I've heard you tell stories of where you went from I only want 15 leads to, well, I tried this and I had this burner number and I made this sign and had this online website and like you were just like open the floodgates.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Not to mention the signs, man. This man Chris bought 200 yellow signs with like a Sharpie
Cheap
handwriting
burial
on it.
insurance.
Cheap burial insurance and a burner phone number.
Yeah.
He set them out, and I think he wrote probably like 10 grand over like the month, just sitting them around the city. And I think he only
And
put
the
out
thing is,
half of them.
He was here's the thing that we're talking about today.
He
is-
actually paid someone to go put them up.
exactly. You
Cam and
didn't
Ty.
even invest, right? You didn't even invest in the leads. Like you had no idea if that was going to do anything.
Yeah, I
you were
was just-
spending money.
You're just throwing stuff out there to
not
see
on
what would work.
leads.
But
Right.
here's
You're just
the,
like,
here's the
oh,
one
I'll
thing
try
he
this.
knows.
That was in addition to his lead.
Yeah.
Right. That was because I wanted to see if I could get incoming
Yeah.
calls
But
in.
he has. He's invested in his education. He's practiced. He's put the work in. And at the end, he knew his skill set. If he just was able to sit in front of somebody,
Yeah.
and if somebody called, he was going to get an app. And then once again,
And he would have paid
I'm
for
working
all
with
the
this
investment.
guy, yeah.
when one application, he would have probably
Oh,
made 200,
I did.
300% profit on
Yeah.
one application out of all 200 signs.
Yeah.
So he didn't really care if nobody called.
What I liked about it, you said, nope, I just want it simple. Just with a Sharpie. Cheap
Yeah.
burial insurance. There's the phone number. Print them on yellow. Put them up. Oh, I'm going to pay someone to put them up because I don't want to go do that either. You had someone go put them
Yeah.
up, and then you just took the phone calls, booked the appointments, wrote the apps.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
It was fun, and there is some fun to it. And also, and maybe there's something to this. I really like learning from things. I like learning and experiences.
Let me jump in here because and maybe this should have been inserted earlier. And if you want to edit it and put it in earlier, you can, because we might
had
have lost.
shells.
We might
We
have
had
lost.
shells.
We might have lost some callers on the front end of this. Like if you're coming into the business and you want to get started, and you have no money and you have no credit. How do you get started if you can't buy leads? Right. So there's really only two opportunities. Either you just go with one of those warm market opportunities. And usually if you have no credit, no money, the warm market opportunities are also very limited because they don't trust you to sell them life insurance because they see you as a person who has no financial credibility. So that kind of puts a damper on that. And so it's an uphill climb for sure, but it is doable if you're willing to hustle and grind, okay? Secondly would be to get connected to an organization that provides a free lead program. We have a program like that where people can come in. It's an entry point. They can get started.
Earn lead.
An earn lead program. Yeah, an earn
It's
lead
free.
program.
Yeah.
Obviously, there has to be a return on investment, to be able to sustain that program. The contract is going to be different. So in this situation, the company is making the investment of finance, is making a financial investment for a return ahead of any production.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to take a little bit bigger piece of the compensation on the contract, which is a reasonable expectation. So if I'm going to spend all the money for you to participate in this program, so you don't have any significant lead costs, and you have the opportunity to go and run as many leads as you can, and get more leads based on your production, and get 25, 30 leads based on what you return. I will keep doing that as long as there's a return on my investment. you will keep doing it as long as there's a return on your investment. So there's an entry point there into the business. At some point, you may cross a threshold where you say, I would like to take on more of the risk and assume more of the financial risk. So then you begin investing in the leads, which then you would, of course, receive a higher compensation on your contract.
Relationship.
So it's a great way into the business. We have many agents that are on that platform that work with us. We absolutely love them, and they love the program. They operate stress free because they're not thinking about spending or investing. And if the idea of investing or spending is limiting you and how you operate when it comes to seeing clients, it may be an inhibitor when you first get started. Like, these are some things that you may have to work through. It may just be in your DNA that you just operate better, where you don't feel like you're putting out $500, $600, $700, $800 a week in lead costs, and you just want to max out the opportunity on that program and make your six figures that way. You can do it either way, but when it comes to leads, get as many as you can. The bottom line is, whatever the program is, how do I get as many leads as I can so I can see as many people as I can, and invest heavily on the time on the front end, also in addition to any leads. It may be more time investment on an earned lead program. It may be financial and time on a paid lead program. So either way, be prepared to invest because it does have a massive return.
Yeah. And leads are obviously the first thing that many agents in the business probably think of in terms of investment. But there are other areas. What would some of those areas be?
Training, man. Taking the time to master your craft.
And that's on like the time side.
Yeah, and it's above and beyond your day-to-day. So if you want to get better, you got to get in the gym. You got to practice. You got to find mentors. You got to get a group. You got to get on Life Insurance Academy. You got to do anything and everything you can to get better, because everything you do, all this investment in life insurance, it's interlocking and it's all related. So the better you are at mastering your craft and sitting with families, and you can take those 3 nearly impossible clients, those level 3 clients, and take them into 2s or 1s, and now you're having more opportunities. The better you are at getting into doors or setting appointments on the phone, you're able to sit with more folks and get in front of more folks, which increases your closing ratios. You gain a lot more experience. You sell more applications on the number of leads that you buy, and then you buy more leads and you're selling more applications on leads, boom, it goes up. There's so many variables that are involved in it, but investing not just in leads, but every single day in your education or understanding of people, understanding relationships, understanding products, understanding companies, understanding closing techniques, pricing techniques, door knocking techniques, objections, why you're getting the objections, the type of people you're seeing. Every aspect of your business you can improve, and it will make everything else better, easier. And when we talk about leads, we talk about training, we talk about all these other aspects, and our end game is time and money, but we know we're not there yet. These are the things that we're investing in, and it's not just, hey Roger, put me on an earned lead platform, or hey Roger, go ahead and give me 20 leads, 30 leads, 40 leads. It's so much more than that. It's every aspect of your business, because they're all related.
Yeah, and I think some agents are, where do I start with the training? Like, I don't even know, like, my organization doesn't offer it, or I'm on my own, I'm independent. Like, where do they even start to get that training? To
be honest, they've already started. For one, you have to have that hunger inside of you. You have to have that desire to get better and improve. That's also why they found this podcast, because they've searched for it. They may be listening to other ones as well, which is great, because you want to be able to seek out good support, good information, good training that is offered out there. And you will find that if it's not offered in your group, or if it's not the same philosophies that you want to go by, or the same ethics, or you will find where you fit. And you will gravitate towards that. There's people out there that care about their agents, that want to invest, that want to help them get where they want to go. That's what our whole motto is here. That's the most important thing you can do is don't wait. I think Roger said something earlier about waiting for somebody to invest in you. Like, invest in yourself, seek that information out. It's not hard to Google search, good books to read, or you've already found the podcast. Like, you have to take a little initiative and go learn it on your own.
I will say it's not, I mean, if you're serious about this, it's not just a time investment. I believe it is a financial investment. Like, I buy books. I buy books so that I can read them to be better. That's one part of it. But I do think, like, maybe you've been on your own and you've been trying to figure this out and you're leading 3 or 4 agents, but you feel like you walked into a toddler's room with all the toys laying on the floor and you don't know where to begin, right? That's how it feels like sometimes. And you entered that position in this industry because you thought you knew what you were doing and you didn't. And it's okay to admit that. But maybe, you got to give up a few points, and it costs you something to have support from a group who can speak into it and give you direction. Another part of it is, I see people in all sorts of different industries who pay for mentorship, who just pay a fee for mentorship, because if you aren't mentored, you are going to hit a ceiling every time. So I don't think it's just
Chris,
a time
I think that
issue.
is so important. Like, for me, growing up in sports, I was big into basketball. I always played with players or in leagues that were 2-3 years older than me. They were bigger, stronger, faster, and better than me. I always believe in surrounding yourself with folks that are better than you, that you can actually learn from. And if you got a competitive bone in your body, that will drive you to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that, you may be that agent that has 3 or 4 people depending on you. In your organization, you may feel like you've leveled out, or there's no other growth, or maybe they're discouraging growth in other areas or expanding your abilities. And this doesn't mean that you've reached your ceiling, or this is it. This is all it is for you. You're stuck to this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may have to look beyond in order to expand your mindset. Surround yourself with other people that are better at this point, but are willing to coach and mentor you to help you get where you want to go. Because that's the way we all grow anyways.
And that starts with just asking.
Well, let me say something about that, okay? There's a cost, time, and money. I mean, we've hit that very hard. But in that specific example, there's another cost, and it's your pride and ego.
Dude.
That is a big one, because if you are doing this by yourself and you found that you keep hitting against the ceiling, like you keep banging against the ceiling, you either have to be satisfied with that ceiling and say, this is just where I am and who I am, and we're cool with this, and we're every once in a while we're gonna
that's wrong.
Cook a pig.
That's wrong.
Together. Or,
if you hit that ceiling, you're not satisfied with being there. Because if you're satisfied with being there, you're never hitting that ceiling.
well, right.
You're gonna be dangling right in the middle. You're not gonna reach that potential.
Yeah. The other option.
But sometimes you're like those. What are those? They call them those
woodpecker?
jumping.
You're a woodpecker.
Crickets?
There's
Grasshoppers.
There's actually an experiment that was done
A
multiple.
jumping bean?
where they put them in the jar, and they take the lid off and they jump out. They keep jumping out, and then they program these same critters, these creatures, jumping crickets or whatever they are. They put the lid on, and after they jump so long, they learn where the lid is, and they stop jumping just below the lid, and then they can take the lid off, and those will never jump out again because now they've been
Holy
preconditioned to stay below that ceiling.
I think it was fleas.
Is it
Really?
jumping fleas? And it's a fact. You can actually program these things by putting the ceiling on so that they stay below the ceiling.
And here's the thing, and this is the ego part about it, is some people, no offense, some people like to put those lids on people. Like they like to be in control, but their organizations will stay a certain size because of that, and the people underneath will never have the opportunity to grow. Like that's the real talk there.
Like you want to get real talk. We as an organization are looking at, okay, where are people at? And how do we get them to the next level? Are there ceilings that we don't even realize?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
like,
put ceilings there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're
And
we're
so,
having honest conversations with ourselves.
what
Right.
do we need to do to help them remove this ceiling that we might not even realize is there?
Right.
Is it more training? Is
You know
it
how you know
more
you're
this?
growing? Is if you're struggling. If you're struggling, then you're growing.
Yeah.
Because the moment it becomes easy, the moment you become relaxed, the
Comfortable.
moment you just say, and don't
Content.
worry, I'll write $8,000 next week, you're not growing.
Yeah.
And so that lets you know, that's a sign, that's a signal. So if you're in your car and you're on cruise control right now, driving to your market, and you're going probably under the speed limit, and you're not really worried about getting to your first door knock, it's probably time to grow. You know, it's probably time to
We
get a
don't
little
endorse
urgency.
speeding. I just need to say
No.
that.
We don't.
What's the next level? Oh, you don't have to be speeding, but you don't have to be leaning back. I mean, I'm talking about the guy that's leaning up in the seat, that's ready to go, that's got the podcast playing on full volume, sitting here and probably going to listen to it 2 or 3 times, and is left an hour and a half ago because he's trying to get to his first sit and ready to go, and he's hungry and he's got a goal this week. He's got all his why that we talked about in the previous episode up in his visor of his dashboard.
And he flopped it down?
And he flopped it down just to remind her and winks at it and says, you know, I love you, baby, to his daughter, whoever's in that picture. And he keeps going. Like, what is your next level? Because you may be comfortable now, but are you going to be comfortable with that in another year, 2 years from now? Are you fine at the same level? Like, you grow in levels. You know, like the caterpillar, man. The caterpillar turns to a butterfly. Man, that thing gets wings. It gets wings. It never had wings before. This man barely moved. Now it's flopping everywhere.
Flopping.
Okay? I mean, you know, it's going to be painful. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take time.
If that caterpillar had some pride, he would never grow those wings, would he?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you ever see any caterpillars with wings that are still crawling around and not flying?
Only in the movie Bug's Life.
That's right.
No, he's learning to fly, man.
You know, those are the ones.
I
I finally
know.
got my wings.
I'm a beautiful butterfly.
There you go. There you go. Now it's coming back. We've got Bane and Bug's Life. Bane and Bug's Life.
Transformation. Wow, he's getting really good at this.
So there's never a time that you stop investing. You never reached a level where you make it. Nobody's ever made it. It just means you need to reevaluate your goals and you need to have a new game plan for growth.
I remember when I first got in the business, and after coming out of our previous company in the marketing business in the Yellow Pages industry, I had 2 carriers. I literally called up their sales desk, and I was bugging them pretty much every day. Like, I was calling to book in my appointment for today to learn some more about some new products. I would literally get 2 or 3 sales support people on their staff, and I would get them to teach me about the products, how they worked, how the underwriting worked, how the applications process worked. I'd order all the supplies. I remember having all these boxes show up at my house, and I would have my girls, when they were just younger, help me stuff those folders and get them all ready, and I'd have my bins in the trunk, and this was the investment of time on the front end. If you're in the business and you're not doing that, and you're expecting it to be easy when you get out there in the home, so you can just text somebody and say, hey, how do I write this app now? Like, you're going to be missing out on opportunities, and you're leaving money on the table. The investment of your time is now costing you money, or the lack of your investment of time is now costing you money because you didn't invest the right amount of time. There's a lot of factors that can come into play here, but boy, pour into yourself and learning the basics, and overcompensate on the time investment early, so that as your funds start to grow and as you start to reap the financial rewards of that, you now can invest not just your time but your money to accelerate your growth and put you in a position, which I think we're getting to which is actually like building more of a passive income in this industry, which is one of the biggest opportunities that I saw coming in. I think there's a few things that we might want to hit on before we get there, but I mean, I hope we get to cover that also.
Say, I'm a very organized guy. So it was important for me to clear my mind, and the way I could do that was to invest in efficiency. So like Roger said, I would have bins for each state with all the folders, every product I would possibly need. So I never have to go to UPS store or somewhere else to print out an application. I'm never not prepared for any type of situation I run into the home. Also, that trains me and keeps me going for that. A GPS was very important to me. And
like not on your phone. You mean
no,
like an actual
not on my phone.
standalone unit?
the standalone unit, and I bought the big old 7-inch screen Garmin.
Dang.
I mean, this thing, it's got voice command. It can tell me where the food is and everything, right? And so it's awesome. And the reason I did that is because, for one, I need my phone's battery for phone interviews, for rate quotes, for whatever I need. I don't need to be burning it up all day long. Plus, a lot of times I'm investing in my team and my people, so I'm making phone calls a lot in the car, and it's hard to navigate when you're making phone calls.
Dude, the amount of exits I've missed by being on a phone call,
It's unbelievable.
Well, I want you to
is
listen
famous
to this
for it.
podcast about GPSs. Okay, so I use a Garmin GPS, and it's got Trip Planner on there. So you're actually able to type in all the addresses you want to go on in that trip, and then you can optimize the order to where it rearranges them to the fastest time for me. I don't want shortest distance. I want fastest time, because sometimes it will take you around the world for the least amount of miles. So I'm more efficient. And you may think, oh, well, I don't want to spend $250. Let me get the $50 GPS, or let me get this one, or I'll wait till I sell a few apps before I get a GPS. And that's the difference of spending and investing. Because for me, on my GPS, when I pull into a driveway and knock or get a sit and I come back, I don't even have to touch it again. I don't have to type in a new address. I don't have to do anything. It automatically takes me to my next home, and then my next home, and then my next home. So if it's able to shave an hour off my entire route, well, then I might be able to get an extra 5 or 6 more door knocks in. I might be able to get an extra 2 sits in, which might result to an extra app every single week. An extra app and an average AP and final expense, 700 AP, an average commission level. I may be getting, $600-700 on that every single week just because of my GPS.
Well, let me say, I don't believe that's true, Zach.
whoa.
Dissension in the ranks.
No, the reason I'm saying that is because I know how I think efficiency-wise. But when I hear an hour a day, is that what you said? Was it an hour a day? You might shave off?
If I can save one extra door knock.
Right. So we'll say it's an hour. I would think, what's an hour? What is it? It's not that big a deal. But if that's 5 days, that's 5 hours.
It might be the difference between somebody going to bed or not, or waking up or not, or
all those little
leaving
efficiency
to go
pieces.
to pick up the grandkids or not.
So an hour, it's probably more than an hour. But if you take that hour for a month, that's 20 hours. That's 20 hours. That's half a work week. And we just...
Because you're trying to save $400 because you didn't want to buy a Garmin.
Right. It's not even that much, I don't think, is it?
No, it was a couple $100.
Yeah.
That's the
Hit
thing.
the
It's
show
like
notes.
$200 or $250.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But think about the apps. If you take about 20 hours, if you do half a work week, if you can get 6 to 8 sits in half of a work week, and you can get applications out of that in a month, right?
Yeah.
That is literally an extra 4 to 5 on an average closing ratio, 4 to 5 extra apps a month. So you're actually making $3,000 more each month just because you're more efficient with your GPS.
And some people will say, well, I have one in my car. I'll just use that one, but it doesn't optimize.
It doesn't have lifetime maps. It doesn't have...
I've used the same GPS for almost 6 years now. Do you know how much money that GPS has made me?
It's made a lot. Here's another thing that people invest. So this idea of saving, spending, investing, right? I get out Tuesday morning. I have car issues. I come home. I put my car in the shop. I post on our organization, sorry guys, I'm out of commission this week. My car's gone in the shop. That's one way you can process that decision.
Right.
Or you can buy the extra service on your insurance to cover loss of use on your car, so that when your car has to go in the shop, you call ahead. Enterprise is there ready to pick you up. You get in the Enterprise and you get straight back to work, and you didn't miss a beat, and it's $40 a day times the 4 days, and you spend $160 to make $3,000 or $4,000 in production, instead of sitting at home being frustrated, wondering why your car is taking longer. And then when you got it back, it wasn't fully fixed. So now you got to bring it back again on Monday.
But you unlocked the camo paint on your M4?
M4A1?
Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You figured that out. But so like there's all these decisions that people make. Like I can't, surely that would just be ridiculous. Who would rent a car and go to work?
Right.
You know, we call that,
Companies
Roger.
do it all the time. Businesses do it all the time.
When we went to New York, because they have such limitations on Uber and Lyft up there, people pay other people to use their car that is already certified for Uber just to make money.
Really?
You want to talk about investment?
Really?
They're investing, hundreds of dollars a week just to use someone else's car so they could drive for Uber and make some money.
Wow.
Like that is what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Exactly. So when you're analyzing things saying, I don't want to spend, or, I need to save or invest, look at the word invest always and say, what is the return if I spend? Because the spending in your business is an investment. It's not just spending. If you're out there in the middle of the week and you're going, and you're rolling up to, I don't know, and you're going to watch movies during the middle of the day, that's bad spending. That's not investing.
Yeah,
that's
right.
like, I'm depressed and I'm going to go watch a movie in the middle of the day because it's raining.
You'll
and I'd
never
rather
get a
do that.
return from anything you spend. An investment is different. You're expecting a return.
Correct. And so when you think about your business as a business and not as an employee, the decisions become clear. The decisions to invest becomes clear. Like, it's okay. Well, if my air conditioning's gone out, you have two choices. What are your choices? Bring your car to the shop, get a rental, go back to work, or drive without air conditioning and just be hot for a week until you can get it in to get a service this weekend.
Yeah.
Those are the two choices in my mind.
Right.
The third choice, which people give themselves, is I can't work this week. I got to go home, put it in the shop. I'll get back to work next week. There's a difference in the mindset of the people who make the first two choices and the third one.
That's what we Kentucky folks like to call a nickel holding up a dollar.
That's right. That is right.
Like, oil changes, get them, be on top of them. And when you get them, schedule them early in the morning. That way you can get back out for the day.
Just do it on the weekend. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Some people in this industry, they have doctor's appointments. When does a doctor schedule an appointment with you?
When they have time
Yeah,
available.
when they want to.
What? Can you repeat that?
When they have time available.
Or at least you think that's the way it has to work.
Right.
Because that's how you've been conditioned. Because that's the thing that they dictate. This is the schedule. This is the next I have available. Why would you ever book an appointment with a doctor at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday?
Screech
Right? Let's mess up a full day of production for you because the doctor wants Thursday and Friday off.
Yeah.
Like, who won that deal? Who won that battle?
I'll tell
You
you-
lost.
I'll
He
tell you
won.
who does that.
This could be a whole nother topic
gosh.
called Get Out of Your Own Way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
who does that is employees. Like,
Employees
I can get out
do.
of work.
I can get out of work. So don't think like an employee. You book your doctor's appointment for Friday morning when you're done your week at 8:30 a.m. so that if you do have to finish up, you still can. Or book it for Friday afternoon at 3. Oh, not too many doctors are working. Oh, I wonder why. Because they front-loaded their week with their appointments.
Yes.
You should be doing the same.
Correct.
Think like that. Schedule these things around your time so that you can maximize your effort. Don't sabotage your effort because of other people's expectations, and invest your time wisely. Money, time, investment, not spending,
Correct.
not saving, invest.
Yeah, and so other things that someone that's door knocking can do is have a change of clothes in their car. Super simple. Just throw them in your car.
Stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Have a chair in your car. If the client's like, I don't want to sit inside. All right, that's fine. I got a chair. We can sit out
In
here
the
with
summer
you.
months, I can sit on the
it's a
front porch.
lifesaver.
Yeah.
Throw 2 chairs in the back here. Let's sit on your front porch. Yeah, it makes them. It removes barriers. It allows you to be prepared. You're investing in your tools, your time.
Yeah, and during this global pandemic, if you're still doing telesales or you're not comfortable, like there's still tools to invest there. We've talked about them in previous episode, but have a second screen. That way you can have all your resources in front of you, or have a good headset. Invest in these tools. They're important because, like Roger said, they take the barriers away. You're investing in yourself to remove barriers. So
We spent a lot of time talking about investments that all of us can do right now, tomorrow,
personally,
today,
individually.
and personally, individually, getting started. But what we didn't talk about is investing in the long term investing in the result of this, investing in the future. A lot of times people buy shares, they buy stocks, they invest in things, not to take it out, not to day trade, but for the long-term growth. And in this business, that is investing in yourself and then duplicating it into others and teams and organizations and building it that way.
Yeah, and that's, I think, Roger, you've mentioned before, like, that's kind of the whole reason you got into this. You wanted to surround yourself with people and kind of pay it forward almost.
So when I realized there was a fantastic business opportunity here in this segment of simplified issue life insurance sales, and obviously now into health insurance, mortgage protection, final expense, whatever that might be, when I realized there was a great opportunity here, I immediately saw the scalability of it to be able to invest and build an agency, build an organization, build a marketing business around this structure of insurance sales. And, you know, Zach, you talked about it earlier. When people come in, they come in for the idea of time and money, right? Time versus money, or time and money. And people can be broke in two ways. They can be broke on money. They can be broke on time, right? There are some people that are coming into this industry that have made great money, and they were selling out all of their time to get it. They're traveling pretty much every week, 5 to 6 days a week. They're working 70, 80 hours. Even when they're home, they're working. They're back on the road again. There's some people that have to be in. They're on call. You know, they make the big bucks. They're executive level people. They're executive level sales people. They're managers, middle managers, or upper managers. And the expectations on those people in this market, in this economy that we have, even during the pandemic, probably more so in the pandemic, has been, we need maximum performance. And so it's required maximum time. And if we're going to pay six figures, we're going to pay it to somebody who's investing as much as we possibly can get. And those people are putting in 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah, okay, I make $160,000 a year. I make $180,000 a year. I make $280,000 a year. I have no time. I have nice toys. I have a nice home. We have a vacation property somewhere near a beach. I take 2 trips a year or 3 trips a year, but that's really the only time I get to spend doing the things that I really want to do with my life, because my wife and my kids, or my husband and my kids, get to spend time there doing that when I'm not there, because my schedule never lines up with theirs, because the time investment is so heavy. The requirement of time on my part is so heavy to make the money. How do you get time and money back? Right? So you can be broke at a different level. You may be broke on time. There's lots of people who have plenty of time. They're just broke on money. That's probably the majority of people, right? And then there's these people in the middle that are just kind of just making enough to cover all the bills. They're not really happy. They're not really fulfilled. And they're making their $50,000 or $60,000 a year. It pays their bills. They marry a spouse. Their spouse makes $50,000 or $60,000. Together, they make enough to buy the first starter home. They're trying to figure out life and get by, and they never really move beyond that. And so it's just right there. Sometimes they're even doing jobs that they don't really like. It's different if you're pouring your life into something that you really like, and that's covering your needs, because now your life has a mission beyond just the financial, because what you do is your investment where you get the joy. And there's plenty of careers out there like that. But if you're not in that category and you're someone who's doing something that pays the bills, but it's not your life passion, boy, that's just a miserable place to be.
Yeah.
It's just misery. In this business, you can get both time and money.
Yeah.
Because there's an opportunity for you to invite people you know into this market and give them this opportunity, the one that we've been talking about. And if you've listened to more than just this one podcast, you'll realize that, man, there's enough content here. We can share, and we can train, and we can teach on it for a long time. But the one thing that you've heard over and over again is that we're excited about this business for a reason, because there's a good return on investment, because we get to be difference makers, because we get to be people who impact other people's lives. And if my voice keeps going any higher, you're going to realize that I'm very passionate about this. I'm realizing the tone of my voice. It's getting up there, but boy, you can bring other people into the business and help mentor them, and now start investing not just in yourself, but in other people.
It is powerful.
When Chris came and sat at my kitchen table, and we had a Coke because he didn't want coffee, and we sat there and had a Diet Coke. I think it was Diet Coke. And I looked at you, and Chris, we talked about that this week.
Yeah.
We just talked about that this week. I was on my back deck, and Chris was still at the office. It was 7 o'clock at night, and he was putting time in here, and I was on my back deck grilling chicken. Okay? We were talking on the phone, and I said, Chris, when we sat and talked in my living room, and I looked at you, and he goes, I don't know if I can do sales, man. And I said, Chris, it's the leadership opportunity that I see with you. It's the leadership. It's the leader in you that I see. Your ability to develop and mentor people. That's what I see, right? And you can share that with other people.
Yeah.
Chris was an unbelievably good dude, right? His wife, he loved his kids. I knew who he was. And I had an opportunity that could change his life. And if I believe that to be true in this industry, I want you to know that opportunity is there for you to invite other people in so that you can help change their life. And then your investment goes away just from you, and it goes into other people. It starts going into people who are coming up through contract or interns, or and you're developing and you're mentoring and you're helping people and you're helping them get their footing. And there's a financial benefit that comes from that. You start investing in people and help them build a business team. So you're out there working 3 or 4 days a week selling your clients. While you're doing that, you may have 1 or 2 people riding with you so that you can demonstrate and train and mentor them. And then on Thursday and Friday and even Saturday, you're interviewing people. You're sharing this business idea. Yeah. You're sharing the business plan. You're looking to put people in your seat with you for next week when you go out there and do it again. And you can build your agency one person at a time. Partner with a good organization that has a platform to do that with, and the sky is the limit. Yep. That's what I saw when I came into this business, and that's where we are today, because I wouldn't be satisfied just with the opportunity for me to do personal sales. Like man, what a sense of joy, really. It's a satisfaction knowing that you can invest in something like that and impact other people's lives and create opportunities to truly be a difference maker, not just to clients, but to each other and then to their families, and that's really our mission. And so if you're listening to the podcast and you're wondering if this is just about sales, it is not.
Right.
You can have an opportunity to put 1, 2, 3. Start with 3 or 4, and then add a few more. They won't all stay. Some will leave. Agents have come and gone here. Mm-hmm. But you will continue to invest in people and build something, and then that income becomes passive in nature. It's no longer active, where you're actively having to do it yourself to create it. It becomes passive. And it's the Robert Kiyosaki theory of moving from the left side of the cash flow quadrant to the right side. It's no longer an employee status. It's no longer a self-employee status. Now it's a business ownership status, where a business is now running and produces income without your direct efforts any longer, because of the investment of time and money that you made earlier, sometimes weeks before, months before, many times years before.
Yeah.
And it pays off in big, big dividends.
Well, whether you're a new agent, an existing agent, or someone who wants to grow a team, know that you have all the resources available to you through this podcast, through your time, through your money to grow your business. It's just how you look at it. It's your mindset. It's how you look at spending versus investing. So take what we said today, evaluate where you're at right now with how you're spending money, with how you're spending your time, and figure out, is this the best way to do this? Is this the best thing to do to grow my business? And if it's not, change it. If it is, keep doing it and apply what we've said today. As always, thanks so much for listening to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, rate us 5 stars, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. The Life Insurance Academy podcast is hosted, edited, and mixed by me, Austin Lopes-Olvero. This episode was produced by Chris Ball and myself. Our theme song is by Flashing Lights. We'll see you on another episode. Until then, stay safe and go be a difference maker.